But it's really important to know what your customer wants, but also how much of everything that you need, because you are losing out on money if you don't have the product, but you're also losing money if you have too much product. So it is
definitely.
Really
and something that I, starting from nothing, not knowing anything about business, really struggled with and still struggle with, about not having systems in place, or not even just having enough metrics in place to assess, okay, so how much did we sell in this season? How much did we sell at wholesale? How much did we sell at retail? That's gotten me into so much trouble both ways.
Yeah.
Especially in the height of my wholesale stuff, like selling out so quick, not being able to keep up with demand, then feeling like personally guilty for letting people down and, you know, not having XYZ. It's, you know, it's a real trap. It's really tricky.
Hey there, and welcome to the Bringing Business to Retail podcast. If you're looking to get more sales, more customers, master your marketing, and ultimately take control of your retail or e-commerce business, then you're in the right place. I'm Selena Knight, a retail growth strategist and multi-award-winning store owner whose superpower is uncovering exactly what your business requires to move to the next level. I'll provide you with the strategies, the tools, and the insight you need to scale your store. All you need to do is take action. Ready to get started? Hey there, and welcome to today's episode of the Bringing Business to Retail podcast. Now, if you've been following me for a while, you'll know that in January, I pledged to go live on Instagram for a month. No glamour, no frills, just going live when I had something to talk about. And I'm pretty proud of myself. Whilst I didn't quite make every single day, because that included weekends, I'm pretty sure I got about 27 out of the 30 days. So I thought that was a great effort. Now, my whole point, the point of the whole exercise was that you don't have to do what everybody else is telling you to do to see if that worked, because I was so tired of people telling me that I had to create reels and I had to create all these different types of carousels and stuff that just took me so long to create. It was actually quicker for me just to go live and have a conversation or talk about something. And then now in the background, we are chopping up all of those Instagram lives and creating little snippets of content. But my exercise was trying to see if that actually worked. And here's the thing, it did. I am so proud to say that, one, my followers increased significantly by about 40%, I think. And two, we had many people reach out wanting to work with me or my team. That's the main driver, right? The whole point of Instagram and social media is to drive sales to your business, drive followers to follow you, to eventually convert them into customers. And so that has happened. So technically it was all a success. And one of the things that I was so happy about was that I started creating conversations with people, because people would reach out to me and tell me all about their businesses. They would tell me the struggles that they were having. They would ask questions. And it's so easy to gloss over social media because it does feel like you're just speaking to a void. And, you're just kind of shouting stuff out and hoping that people listen. So when these DMs, I was going to say emails, when these DMs started to come in, it was really validating to know that the information that I was putting out there was helping people. Now, one of those people, in fact, when she commented on one of my Instagram lives, she had the blue tick, and I wasn't quite sure what the tick meant because it wasn't blue in the little comment section. And I'm like, oh, what does this mean? And she said, oh, it means I'm verified because I've got lots of followers. And anyway, we got to chatting into DMs. And this was the amazing Georgia Perry, aka GPez, if you are on Instagram. And she was telling me about how she had grown her business to the point where she had a retail store that was turning over a lot of money, but the wheels fell off. And so I asked her if she would come on to an Instagram live. And in this conversation, Georgia shared the highs and the lows And they were very high and they were very low. And she even goes on to talk about what happened when the whole business imploded. Now, spoiler alert, to rush to the end, Georgia now has a very successful business and has changed tack a little bit. But what I wanted to share with you, and I'll be honest, the audio on this one is not 100% studio quality because I think we just had our AirPods in. Like the point was never to use it again on a podcast, although I probably should have organized that. But after listening to it and hearing so many other stories as a result of the Instagram Live, I wanted to share this with you. So the audio is perfectly listenable, but it's just not studio quality with studio mics. So if you're having a tough time, if you're feeling a little bit challenged in your business, or you just want a great inspirational story, you're going to love today's replay of my Instagram Live with Georgia Perry, aka GPez. Now, the funny thing is, it was this actual Instagram Live that kind of pushed me to create something that we haven't done before. During the conversation, or maybe it was the pre-conversation, Georgia had said to me, there were so many times I just wish I had someone to tell me what to do. I had no one to turn to. I had no one to get strategic advice. I had no one to tell me if this was a big problem or a little problem. I'm sure, like you guys, taking action is never a problem. Doing is never a problem. But knowing where to put your focus and looking at the future and what the business looks like and how you're going to interact with the business in the future, well, that's where things can go a little bit pear-shaped. And when you don't have that clear path, then what ends up happening is you ping pong around. You jump from one thing to the next. You're just trying to cross things off your to-do list. But as a result, you don't get any traction and you end up just flopping on the sofa at 10 o'clock at night, exhausted, but knowing that there is still more to do. And that is a vicious cycle. That is what leads to burnout. That is what leads to businesses imploding. And Georgia is going to tell you her story about how all of this happened to her and how, it was just too much. Without that support network, without the knowledge, and without the cheerleaders, which, let's be honest, sometimes we need knowledge, sometimes we need to kick up the butt, and sometimes we just need someone to listen and to cheer us on. And without that was the difference between her business going on and her business closing. And that really stuck with me. Like, the knowledge is one thing, but the support is another. And so it had been ticking over in my brain, like, if Georgia was facing this, how many other people were facing this? And so over the last few months, in fact, we are frantically finished putting the final touches on it as I record this just a couple of days before this episode goes live. We have crafted an entirely new program that gives the knowledge, that gives the support, and gives the cheerleader aspect that you will need to grow your business. So if you're looking to create a clear roadmap to scale your retail or e-commerce business, one that you can use over and over again in 90 days or less, then listen in closely. Because my 5X framework is a program where we will work together for 90 days. And by the end of that 90 days, in fact, in 90 days or less, you will understand how to confidently diagnose which pillar of retail success is holding your business back and build out a quarterly plan that allows you to take control of your business. And it will reduce the overwhelm. It will bring in you more sales. It will get you more customers. And of course, when that happens, you have more growth. Now, because of the aspect of working with my team for this program, I have actually had to put a cap on the number of people that we bring into the program each week. Now, just to be clear, this is not my Supercharge Mastermind. My Supercharge Mastermind has strict criteria to be able to come into the program, and I'm really selective as to who comes into the program. You have to do an interview with me before I'll accept you in. This 5X framework is kind of like a mini version of the Supercharged Mastermind. It is a 90-day version, whereas the Supercharged Mastermind is a 12-month program where we work together. This is a 90-day program, which of course means that the investment to come into the program is significantly less than my Supercharged Mastermind. So if you've looked at the Mastermind and thought, that's a little bit out of my reach, or you just know that having the ability to create a clear roadmap to scale your retail or e-commerce business on repeat, plus having access to me and my team to be your guides, to be your mentors, to be your cheerleaders, and to give you the kick up the butt when you need it, then check out selinaknight.com/5X. I will put the link in the show notes, selinaknight.com/5X, X for X-ray, and have a look and see if that's something that you're looking for. As I said, I've put strict limits on the number of people who can come into the program each week, and it is a first come, first served basis. So if you do want to join the program, you may have to wait if we are already at capacity for that week. But trust me, the wait is going to be worth it. selinaknight.com/5X, and you can check it out. You can book a call with my team and see if it is the right program for you. Now, let's jump into this very juicy story, very inspirational story from Georgia Perry.
Hello. Today I'm going to do something completely different that I have never, ever done before. And fingers crossed, it works well. Today, I want to bring somebody onto my Instagram live because you know that I have made a decision to go live on Instagram every single day. So let's see if Instagram is going to do its thing and let her on. All right.
Hi.
Hey, we got to work. Can I just say we had to have a bit of a giggle yesterday. We did like not a trial run, but we did like a little pre-chat yesterday. And Georgia was like, I'm so nervous. And I'm like, lady, you have like 40,000 followers and I have 2,000 followers. You have a lot of followers here.
This is like way out of my comfort zone, but I feel like that's the theme for this year for me. So here we are.
All right. So look, I reckon these are all your people joining. So hey to all of Georgia's followers. I think we should just do a quick introduction because they might know you or they might know me. So I'll start because this is you out of your comfort zone. And hey, I clearly love to talk. I'm Selena Knight. I'm a retail and e-commerce growth strategist, and I'm really good at speaking and strategy. And so I am going live every day on Instagram for a month to see if I can just like throw the whole algorithm thing out the window and just do what I'm good at and see if it works.
That's me.
That's you, Georgia. You're up.
Georgia Perry. I am an illustrator, a small business owner, a Melbourne-based creative. I work for myself. I love what I do, and I'm GPES on Instagram.
Yeah, with
verified.
I am
verified.
Tick, right?
Yeah,
with the
I
tick.
have no idea how or why.
For someone who says they don't go online, you've obviously done something right.
Yeah, well, I mean, you'll get there, Selena. You'll get a tick, I'm sure.
Actually, it's funny because we put these demands on things like followers, but actually you are better off, in my opinion, having a smaller amount of followers who actually like what you do and will buy your stuff rather than having 40,000 people who just like everything and never convert into
Totally
customers,
agree.
which is where most people
I have a few more followers than you, but I engage with probably like 10% of them. So you're exactly right. Numbers don't mean exactly what we think they mean sometimes.
All right, I have a question for you on that before we even jump in. How do you track the people who are on your social followings, whether they become customers or not?
And I should. I think at the moment, because as we kind of touched on yesterday, I've gone very small with my business again, and it's just me and like one other person, my partner. I see familiar names, I see familiar faces popping up, but as far as like actual metrics go of like who's coming and buying stuff from me, I have no idea. And that's where I'm kind of sitting this year, like wanting to actually put some more systems in place and actually start using that data and seeing like who is interested in products, who's interested just in my illustration work, who's coming to me for what, basically, and how many are eventually converting to kind of customers on my shop. So I wish I had an answer for you, and I need those answers myself, but I'm going to get there. That's one of my goals for the year.
All right. Well, one of the simple things you can do for that is just using Google UTM tags. So when you put something,
sounds fancy.
Yeah,
sounds fancy.
Straight into the strategy. It's actually not, right. Like you just Google UTM tags. U for umbrella, T for Tom, M for metrics. It probably stands universal something metrics, I think is what it stands for. Anyway, UTM tag, and what it will do is you type in like the URL of wherever you want the person to go. So say you would use this in your LinkedIn bio, for example. So you would type in where you want it to, so that button, the URL it goes to will actually be like this really long thing that no one else can see. So it'd be like georgiaperry.com.au/Insta bio / maybe you did a campaign, like you did an actual like this. So you could be sell live / something. So you'll put in the source that it came from. So that would be like Instagram or Facebook, or maybe you do paid ads. You put in the campaign. So this might just be sales Instagram live. And then you can put in I can't remember what the name of the third thing is, but there's another third thing. Maybe the traffic. I can't remember. But so essentially what will happen is in the back end, you'll be able to see exactly where it came from.
Yeah, right.
In your Google Analytics.
I was looking at some expensive program, Klaviyo, I think, for a similar type of thing. It's like a...
So Klaviyo
doesn't that have like
email marketing program?
Yeah.
It's not expensive.
Yeah, because I thought
it will make
that
you
had
money.
Like a paper trail of seeing the patch socials. Yeah.
To a degree, yeah. So that's what I love about Klaviyo. So Klaviyo is an email marketing program, but what I love about it is it has AI, and that AI tracks what's called browsing and buying behavior. So if someone comes to your website, it cookies them. So in the back end, I call it this is not PG rated, guys. So if you've got little people, like stick some headphones in. So I call it I can't be asked sending an email, where you literally drop in a product block and then you click a button that says personalize. And so the email you get as a customer will be different to the email that I get based on what we've bought before and what we've looked at.
Totally.
Does that make sense? Really, if you ever say to me, I can't be bothered, I just don't have the time to send an email, I'm like, they literally are like, like 2 minutes.
Totally.
Pretty much.
I feel like that is such a
right?
common theme, feeling like, I don't have time, I'm a creative, that's not in my wheelhouse, like I don't know how to do this, I don't know how to do that. That's been me at times, and I feel like I'm coming out of that now, and I really want to take control of the business aspects of being a creative, because I know so many people in similar situations who think, it's just too hard basket. People buy from me. That's cool. If it happens, it's a fluke, and, that's great. But I'm so interested in actually being a bit more tactical and being a bit more strategic and growing my business, because it's exciting. And there are tools for these people like us who say, I'm creative, I'm not a business person. Well, it's like, maybe we are.
That's bullshit, right? So can I just take a step back and say, I know a little bit about your story, and the fact that you're saying I'm small and I just want it to be me. It's like, lady, you have had a 7-figure freaking e-commerce business. So can we talk a little bit about that? So tell us a little bit about your story. And I've titled this When No One Tells You How to Prepare for Success, or something like that. Because this theme has come up quite a few times with a few of my clients inside of my programs. Now, guys, Instagram Live, we have to have some kind of call to action. This is what I discovered. So if you are interested in checking out Georgia's designs and buying her stuff, head over to georgiaperry.com.au and check it out. And hey, if you like what you see and you think you might want to hang out with me and work with me and my team, you can just send me a DM and we can have a chat about that. So Georgia, tell us your story.
My background is in design. I'm a designer, trained graphic designer, illustrator. And around 8 years ago, I made one product, and it was a lapel pin, like a little enamel lapel pin. And it was really fun. And I put it on the internet, and it just kind of launched into this business. It was very much of a time, I'm not sure if you were across, Selena, but enamel lapel pins became a bit of a movement in the artist kind of independent creative community. I don't know how or why. It just became this like boom, this tiny little souvenir-like product. accidentally launched a business for me. So from there, I made some more, and then I made some cards, and I made some textiles. I started making some bags. Little by little, this kind of business grew itself without any planning, without any money or backing. And then I got some interest from stockists, so I said yes to that. All the while, just Googling, how do I make a line sheet? How do I, do this and do that? I had no idea.
Hey, you knew what a line sheet was. Like, that's good.
What is the thing called where but I learned a lot. And so that eventually grew, and wholesale became kind of like the main tool for us. Wholesale was huge. And then I kind of over ambitiously got a retail space in Fitzroy, like a really cool suburb in Melbourne, which I loved.
Yep.
I ended up with a team of 6, I think, maybe at the height. Again, how do I employ someone? Like, I had no idea what I was doing, but I loved the product. I believed in the product. I loved people. I loved that aspect of retail. But I don't know, I got to this point where I was out of my depth. I don't know, just some unexpected, like, personal stuff. Like, I started getting ill and I was so stressed out. I didn't know how to be a manager. I didn't know how to be an effective leader. I didn't have structures in place. Yes, I did some things right. I knew how to make a beautiful shop. I knew how to make products. I knew how to make it sound good, smell good, look good. So there were essential parts there.
Yeah.
But I guess the fundamental framework behind it, I was so out of my depth. And luckily, we just had a 12-month sublease, so we could test the idea. I wasn't locked into like a 10-year commercial lease or anything, thankfully. And at the end of that, I decided to not renew it because I just felt so out of my depth and uncomfortable, I think. And instead of kind of addressing that and leveling up my skills, I chose to kind of go small again. So I shut the shop, sacked everyone, went back to it just being me, at my house, designing things and just selling things here and there. And now I kind of look upon that as I miss aspects of that. And I mean, first and foremost, like the sales, like we were making money, but I wasn't doing the right things with it, evidently. But I look back on that now, obviously, as one does, with rose-coloured glasses, thinking it was such a great, inspiring, fun time. Yes, I was stressed out of my mind, but there are so many aspects that I really loved. And moving forward, I'm at this stage now, like post-COVID, I've had a baby, where I want to grow my business again, and I want to do it right this time. So that's kind of where I'm at. Yeah, I still do commercial work. I'm a full-time working illustrator, so that's the bread and butter. But I really want to grow this product side again because I know that I can do it. And I've learned so much in the few years since doing that. And I just feel like, I don't know, there's a lot left on the table. I feel like I have a lot of opportunities that I've wasted, and I kind of want to get that back, not perhaps like a physical retail space, but I just really want to invest in myself again as a business person, just with some new energy and some new plans behind it, I think.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic. I mean, 100% I have been there. Like, on the surface, you're like, it's like the duck, and in the underneath, you're like,
totally.
And I often tell the story because it's one of those things where you look back and you don't realise at the time. But I remember I walked into one of my stores many years ago, and I opened the door, and there was this little corridor. It was like maybe 2 meters long that you kind of walked in and then you turned into the shop. And I remember just putting the key in the lock and opening the door and just walking in and kind of looking at the walls and walking into the shop and just falling on the floor and bursting into tears. And it was that moment. It sounds like you probably had something very similar, where it's just like, this was not what it was supposed to look like. This was not what success was supposed to look like. Like me coming in here in the stock room, like I walked into the storeroom and I just sat in the corner and I rocked and I cried. And, it was about 8 o'clock in the morning, so the shop wasn't open. No one was there. And it was just like, I just can't keep doing this. Like there's something is broken here. And I guess the difference between potentially what you and I did was you went, fuck it, I'm out. And I went, fuck it, I'm all in. And I sold my house and I just went, what's broken? And just tried all these things to fix it. And I made a lot of mistakes. But the outcome is I went on to sell that business. You know, I grew it into multiple chain of stores, sold that business, and now I work with other people to help them to grow their businesses. But I think, like, at the time, you don't know that that's the moment you're going to look back on. But in hindsight, you do. And you have two options, right? And neither is right and neither is wrong. We just chose different paths. And what I see happening with you back in that day is still something I see every single day. And it's this concept of everyone tells us to prepare for the worst case scenario. So, you know, have the money in the bank, or have the plan B, or have the, you know, the stockless and the shop and all these sorts of things. But actually, what happens when it all goes right? But sometimes it goes right too fast.
Oh
so
my God,
we had like 80 stockists, didn't you?
Yeah. Like we were in Nordstrom's in the US. We were in Colette in Paris. We were in like all these sick stores. And I feel like, again, I just think I squandered some of that by not doing things properly, not keeping up with the demand, not, you know, having a scheduled way that I release products. It was very kind of like haphazard, the way that I would like design and release products. It was, the whole thing was just, maybe too much too soon. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay. So you've got this benefit of hindsight now. So I would love to know what made you decide to walk away and go small, because I literally have two clients at the moment who've done the exact same thing. And so I would love to know, like, what was going through your mind instead of, you know, let's get a partnership, or let's get a business mentor or coaching, or let me go and do a course or something, rather than moving forward, you decided to contract.
That's a really good question, actually. I think part of it is fear of failure, of acknowledging that I had done the wrong thing. Like, I had got myself into this like mess of my business, and I don't know if there was like an element of shame attached to that, of like admitting like, hey, I need help, and like, not, why didn't I seek funding? Why didn't I don't know, like you said, why didn't
you start a business?
This is the thing. I think part of it is a personality thing. I'm a Gemini, so I'm very like, it's like all or nothing. I'm very, very in, or I'm very, very out. And then I was having sleepless nights. I was trying to have a baby. I was about to start IVF. I was just like, I can't. If I have to choose right now, I'm going to choose me and my health. Only now in hindsight, I think, oh shit, what if I had have sold? What if I had have got a partner? What if, you know, blah, blah, blah. That's, you know, by the by now. But I don't know. I think it's by and large a personality thing and just a priority thing. I don't know. I just chose to go small. Yeah, much to my own, you know, good in some ways, bad in other ways.
But sometimes you need to contract to expand.
Totally. If I had the brain I have now, I think 5 years ago, like, shit would be different.
It's funny. I listened to a podcast the other day, and the guy was saying something along the lines of, you should never, I'm just going to paraphrase this and probably butcher it at the same time, but he said something along the lines of, you should never be ashamed of where you're at by looking at, like, by comparing yourself to the younger generation. And for example, like you're younger than me, but when I first started out, like, social media only just existed. And we didn't have these YouTube videos and tutorials and masterminds and membership sites. And, like, you literally found somebody to talk to. Nowadays, like, people who are 14, 15, 16 can start a business and end up with 7 figures because all that shit is out there for them to learn from. And so, you know, we go, oh, you know, why wasn't I at that same place? Like, I'm 47 and I'm like, oh my God, you know, like, why am I not a 9-figure business by now? And it's like, because the stuff wasn't there. The infrastructure wasn't there as we were coming up. And so I would say, don't necessarily like feel ashamed of the fact that you made different decisions because, one, you're at a different point in your life, but also, two, maybe you just didn't have access to the people and the information that you needed to make those decisions.
I think it's column A, column B for sure. Yeah. It's very complex. Like, business is a very complicated thing, especially when you are essentially an artist and a creative as well, particularly. And I know a lot of people in my kind of cohort feel the same. Like, it is a struggle between that commercial mentality and, you know, your heart as well and your personality. Like, it's a struggle for sure.
All right, I'm going to give you I don't know if you just saw it, but I'm going to give you like a boost of confidence. Hey, Sky Townsend just said, watching you pull back from situations gave me more confidence to consider what I was doing that wasn't right for me. So, you know, to take anything away from that was that you going through that helps somebody else to make decisions for them, which is, you know, you kind of got to look at it and go, you know, something good had to come out of it, right? I think that's one of the biggest joys.
It was one of the biggest joys when I had the business, connecting with people, you know, whether it be customers, suppliers, you know, whatever. And post having kind of the retail store and everything, it's been the same. It's been the customers that still say, oh, I love the mug that I got from you 5 years ago. I still use it every morning and it makes me happy every morning. That kind of stuff is really life-giving. And also, yeah, like I have been, you know, pretty transparent about that stuff and work stuff and business stuff and private stuff like IVF and postnatal depression, you know, another story. But I feel like it's the people and stuff like that, Sky, that's so sweet. And I appreciate that. There's no problem with making mistakes. I think the only problem is repeating them, you know. So there's stuff that I won't ever do again and there's stuff that I would do again.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Can we talk about this creative thing? Because I have worked with a lot of you. I mean, our creative director, she's one of them. I have worked with an artist who now, I was going to say, oh, that's her. Let me just turn. Oh, it's behind the pole. That's her artwork up there. I have worked with her and she now owns an art gallery, right? Like, I remember she was giving me paintings for free. And I'm like, just let me give you $100. Like, it's something. This is worth more than nothing. And she now owns an art gallery and is an established artist all around the world. But even now, like 10 years later, she still struggles with putting her prices up, you know, and it's just the fact that she's got to the point where she's like, I actually can't paint quick enough. I have to put the prices up just to kind of slow down the orders. And so I want to talk to you about, we didn't really talk about this, but I hope you're okay. As a creative, why, like, put me in the headspace, because this is not me, right? I am so type A, give me a list, all that kind of stuff. I love making money. I love what we can do when we make money. I love being able to share it and hire people and make the world a better place. So I love money. Creative people seem to think that, I'm just going to call it art in whatever shape or form it is mutually exclusive to being wealthy.
Perhaps it comes back to that mentality of selling out, you know. The life of a creative or the life of an artist is, you know, expression, the struggle. I mean, I'm a commercial artist, so I don't lean as far that way myself, but I think maybe that is that element of selling out. I don't want to put my name on too many things. I don't want to be, be seen to over-commercialize, or perhaps that plays into it. And also, I guess, at the heart of a lot of creatives I know is self-doubt and some anxiety, you know. I feel like I create some of my best ideas when I'm in a bit of an anxious spiral. So I feel like it's partly, again, a personality thing. It's like, I don't know, just getting past that self-doubt and believing like what I make does have value. And I don't know, I think it's a real mixture, because for me, I think I get partly because up until now my brand of products has also been my name, and that's been a really kind of push and pull kind of point for me as well, because I feel this vibe of like, I don't want to annoy people. I don't want to. Some people might just follow me for illustrations. Some people might follow me for, you know, parent content or whatever. But I feel like I don't want to annoy people by trying to sell to them, you know, and that goes again back to that I don't know, that self-doubt and if I feel like that, how am I meant to project anything else, I guess it's again that combination of stuff. Like I just don't want to feel gross and annoying like I'm selling, but it's retail. I know
that's retail though. Like,
I know
that's business.
I know, and that's a big thing. I know, and that's for me. And I've done a lot of thinking and learning around it. And I don't feel like that all the time, but it's like in one's darkest moments, you just think the reason why XYZ isn't selling, or the reason why traffic's down on the website, whatever, it's because I'm annoying. People are getting sick of this, or people are getting sick of that, and it's like, I know. Have you had this before? Yeah.
Can I tell you what's annoying? Right? Can I tell you what's annoying? Right? I think this is the perfect juxtaposition. I am a customer of art. I don't get art. I like florally type pictures. I was an arborist and a horticulturist. It's the only stuff that makes sense to me. And so when my friend became so expensive, I can't afford her anymore, I was looking for some other artists, and I found another artist. I think her name is Natalie Martin or Nicole Martin. Can't remember. Anyway, found her on Pinterest. There's this picture I really, 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 really want. And so the original has been sold. She does prints, but she only did the print, I think, in like A3. But I wanted an A1 or A0. Like I wanted a big ass picture to hang in my stairwell. So messaged them and said, can I have this printed in A1 or A0? It's not on the website. And her people wrote back and said, no, we only printed it in A3. I'm like, oh, okay, all right. Well, can I do a commission? This was last year. It was like, no, she's on maternity leave. Okay, this is it. This is like 3 emails. No, she's on maternity leave. Sorry. Me. Okay, can I go on a wait list for a commission? No, sorry. Check back next year. So as a customer, I'm like,
I've
just
so
want to
done
give
I've
you money.
so done shit like that. I've so done shit like that myself.
Like, I don't understand it. Like, okay, she does limited edition print. She does 50. All right, you did 50 in A2 and A3, or A3 and A4.
Totally.
Do another 50 in A1. Like someone wants to give you hundreds of dollars and you already have the process set up. Like, I don't understand it. And as a customer, it just infuriates me to the point where I end up going and buying from somebody else. And so when you think your art is not valuable, as a customer, I'm sitting here going, freaking hell, I just want to give you some money, okay?
One of your episodes, Selena, or another business podcast I listened to recently, where they said, don't think of yourself as taking money from a customer when you sell them something. Think of, if you don't sell it to them, you're denying them something, something special. Yeah,
that's me. Yeah. And that's an exact example, right? Like, if you're not taking my money, you're actually making my customer experience worse, or like devaluing your product to me because I can't give you the money. And I see this all the time. And this is like something that happens with out of stocks. Like, people go, oh, it's great, we sold out in 48 hours. And I'm like, right, so how much money did you lose? And they're like, no, but we sold out. I'm like, yeah, so how much money did you lose? Like, if you sell out of something and there are other people who want that same thing, yours is a bit different because it's original art. But, if I'm going to buy a handbag and other people sell that, you literally just lost my sale to somebody else because you didn't forecast correctly, or you didn't put me on a wait list or a back order or something like that where I could give you my money now and know that it would come. So I think this is really important. I can kind of switch the conversation here, but it's really important to know what your customer wants, but also how much of everything that you need, because you are losing out on money if you don't have the product, but you're also losing money if you have too much product. So it is
definitely
really
and something that I, starting from nothing, not knowing anything about business, really struggled with and still struggle with, about not having systems in place, or not even just having enough metrics in place to assess, okay, so how much did we sell in this season? How much did we sell at wholesale? How much did we sell at retail? That's, again, me withdrawing and being like, I'm not good with numbers. I'm not good with maths. I don't know. I mean, I guess we should just order 200. Like, that's gotten me into so much trouble both ways.
Yeah.
Especially in the height of my wholesale stuff, like selling out so quick, not being able to keep up with demand, then feeling like personally guilty for letting people down and, you know, not having XYZ. It's, you know, it's a real trap. It's really tricky.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And hey, if you have just joined, this is the amazing Georgia Perry. She's a commercial illustrator. She has fantastic products with awesome artwork. You can check her out at georgiaperry.com.au. And if you haven't met me, which is probably more the case because she has way more followers than I do, I'm Selena Knight. I'm a retail and e-commerce growth strategist. And if you like what you hear here and you think that we might be cool working together, send me a DM and I'd love to have a chat with you. All right. Can I ask you about what the future looks like? Because you've been there, you've done it, you've had a 7-figure business. Can I ask what you did with all the stock?
We just had sales. We had, a bunch of sales and like warehouse kind of sales. I ended up with basically nothing left from when we closed kiosk. That's kind of just all, what we did. Because I didn't want to look at it. I didn't want to look at any of it. I didn't want to think about it. I wanted to shut the door, walk away, and pretend it never happened, you know, basically.
Which I just find so remarkable because here I am going, and I see what I'm saying is you're not, like, this is not just you. This is not a failure thing because I see this happen so much. I'm like, on the surface, it looks like everything is amazing, but in the back end, it's all just a big pile of hot mess. And the thing is, it was all fixable.
Selena, don't tell me that now.
It was, but this is the point, right? So that's what I'm saying. You now have all this knowledge. Like, what does the future hold?
Well, definitely rebooting my product, the product side of my business for sure. I'm looking at splitting off my kind of illustration and commission stuff and having my business as a separate channel now, just to get a little bit of separation from my name, get rid of that kind of emotion, so I can detach emotionally a bit from it when it's not my name. And that's what I loved about having Kiosk, the real life shop, that it wasn't just called Georgia Perry. It was called Kiosk, which gave me mentally a little bit of separation. It allowed me to kind of step back and view it as its own thing. So I'd like to do that again.
Yeah.
So separate myself out and reinvest in the product side of the business, but with some proper strategies and some proper tools in place that I have never had before. Because this is the thing. If I can get back to you know, the numbers that I was doing and, you know, the fun I was having interacting with customers and finding stores and getting approached by stores, it's so exciting. If I can get back to that, but also have some proper, you know, stuff in place, like some proper business stuff, I feel like foundations,
principles. Strategy.
I just feel, like I said before, if I had the brain I have now 5 years ago, like shit would be so different. I'm excited to kind of to do that again. So basically, I don't feel like I'm starting from scratch. I just feel like I am reshaping the product side of my 2.0. 2.0. Totally. And I'm really excited. I'm excited and nervous. Like it feels, again, the creative, anxious brain, like it feels overwhelming. Like it feels like there's a lot of work to do, but I feel like I know a bit more about what I need to do now. You know, it's not just like throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks. If I can slowly build up again, bit by bit, in a very sustainable, reliable, organized way, I'm excited. Yeah, I'm excited to see where I can go because I've got so many ideas for products. I love shiny object syndrome, Lena. You have to know.
But here's the thing. So can I give you some suggestions? So what I would say, a couple of things that without knowing too much, and I am not a financial advisor, so do not make financial decisions based on our conversation. Looking like from the quick conversation we've had about what the business looked like, and it's what it sounds like you really love. Like you said, the product design, the product sourcing, the stocker sourcing, all that kind of stuff is going into 2.0. Let's just say you had the physical store, is putting a store manager in place and you stepping away. Like that's not your thing. That is their thing. Like you said, I find drawing out like an organizational hierarchy is really beneficial here. And so like you sit at the top, and then who's doing the marketing? Like, is that you? Is it somebody else? Who's managing the store? Who's managing product and finances? Now, sometimes that is more like the same person is doing more than one job, but it also means that because you've been there before and you've grown, you can see, well, oh, okay, so the store manager might be able to do, if I find the right person, they might be able to do some of that inventory forecasting as well. But I know that when I hit a certain level, I'm probably going to have to work with like a virtual CFO or put some kind of money-related person who that's their job, is that they give me that financial advice to do the forecasting. And I think one of the things that retail and e-commerce store owners do, which is exactly what you did, is you either fell into it or you really loved a product and you're like, I think more people should get access to this product, and then it grows. But nobody's told us how to run a business. I've got a business degree. It didn't teach me how to run a business at all. Like, I look back now and go, oh my God, there was like 4 years of my life that was like just wasted. Like, apart from accounting, which I failed the first time, there wasn't anything in there that actually I've gone on to use in the future. And so I think when you draw out what does the business look like now, and then what do I want the business to look like? And that's really important because so many people can't even tell me what that looks like.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like, but what do you want? I just want to make money and do my art. Okay, but how much money are we earning? Like, do you want the shop? Do you want to just have e-commerce, or do you want print on demand? Or like, how hands off or how hands on do you want to be? Like, what do you want your role to be? Who do you want to report to you? Anyone? Like, just one person who's the CEO, and you just become, the creative person and the visionary? Or are you okay with other people reporting back to you and you managing that? But it sounds to me like you had like a lot of people back when you had kiosk, but maybe they all didn't know where they belonged and what they were responsible for. And as a result, you were doing, I call it well, I don't even know if you're at FOEO level. I think you feel like you're still at manager level, where it's like, I've got to be in all the things. And that next level up before you hit CEO is FOEO, which is like, look at me, I got my own business. Holy fuck, everything. Everybody wants me to answer every single question.
That was me. I was a headless chook. I didn't know what day it was. We had so much to do. I was doing, and this is a lesson as well in terms of organising a business and organising your roles. I was doing like 2% creative work, 98% putting out fires, like dealing with, day-to-day running of the shop, dealing with hiring and firing, dealing with HR issues in even such a small team, dealing with, real estate, commercial real estate agents. And there was so much shit that I was just doing all of it because I didn't know how to delegate. I didn't know how to, write down those roles and responsibilities for people. Like I was,
Let me jump in. Can I ask you a question? Was it that you didn't know that what you had to do, or was it more you liked the feeling of being in control of all the things?
More the second one, I think. Being busy. I'm an eternal busy person. I grew up with busy people. It's my go-to way of being. 100%.
Default mode.
It's learned behavior birth.
Default mode. I'm with you. But busy doing the things that make you money and grow the business is so much more important than busy for the sake of being busy. So if you would have just, like, in hindsight, let's just take that. If you would have just said, if we work together, hey, Sal, do you have a commercial lease person? Yeah, I do. Here's that person. And you just walk away. I mean, the whole business suffered if you were only at 2% creativity, because unless, and I kind of like this for Kiosk 2.0 or GP 2.0, is that when you separate it out, all of the business creativity and products no longer rely on you. Like, there's no requirement there for you to go, you know what, I can bring other designers in that fit with my brand and my aesthetic and can do the same thing. Oh my God, it doesn't have to be all me. If you can let go of a little bit of control.
And I think I had to kind of have that, walk through that fire the first time to realise what I don't want, So, there's a lot of important lessons there. And a lot of, like, personal growth as well. Like, that's a lot of, like, self-development, realising that, hey, I have to let go of some stuff. I can't keep doing this. So, yeah, there's like a certain amount of humility, I think, as well with this kind of business change.
All right. So 2.0 is rebooting the product side with under a different name banner. If we were sitting down having this Instagram live, I keep saying Facebook live because you know I don't hang out on Instagram. If we were having this Instagram live 12 months from now, and I'm like, oh my God, GPs, you have been a freaking success. What have you done?
What does it look like?
What does it look like?
It looks like ease. A day and a week and a world where business and life feels there's a sense of ease. Like I know what's happening when, I know who's accountable for what, and it's not all me. Financially secure, less kind of, you know, working towards some bigger financial goals, you know, like owning a home, having a studio space where we feel creative and perhaps it is a small team again. Yeah, there's kind of a few different prongs there. But by and large, just having a business that feels easy is the wrong word, but that feels...
Flow. It's in flow, right? I think that's we talked about this the other day too, because that was one of the things that I said too, was because we put so much effort into growing the business last year, and we brought on a fractional CMO and we brought on a fractional sales team and all this kind of stuff, that there was a lot of, even though I was letting go of a lot of things, there's always that, you know, the hiccups right at the beginning with it's like the synergy. It never just works seamlessly. There's always the teething problems. And when we had our team meeting back last week, start of the year, and I was like, you know, what does everybody want from the business this year? And it was funny, everybody said the same thing as you. It was like, we feel like we put all the effort in, so now it's time to reap the rewards. It's like the ease, and we came up with the word flow. Like, just, there's always going to be hiccups, but not this everything at a deadline, because we are like you. We work everything to a deadline, and we do fantastically. We are shit if there's no deadline. And so it's like, all right, let's put these pretend deadlines on ourselves, so that it's like, okay, instead of saying, batching, for me, I was going to the point where we used to batch, 6 months worth of podcasts, or 6 weeks at least worth of podcasts. And then it got to the point where we're doing every single week, and the podcast editor was like, oh, I need this. And my team was like, oh, I need this. And I'm like, this is too much for everyone. And so now we have more realistic views, like, okay, so over a month, we're going to batch 3 months worth, so that we have, that content. And even though there's the kind of semi-deadline there that everyone can work to, it then means like the next couple of months we can forget about it. And so it is really about, I think, identifying, like, where are you putting all the energy into your business, and where is that urgency, which is not good, because that's like cortisol level overload for everyone. Like, how can we bring down the cortisol levels and end up with a better product, but still feel like we kind of had that deadline to meet? So that was one of the things that we've put in. And thank you to all the people who say they love that this chat is like the most engagement I have ever gotten. So I'm so excited. So that would just be like my little piece of advice there, is just looking at what are the things that trigger that sense of urgency and not distress, but that sense of panic mode, and like how can you change what that looks like? And as I said, for us, it was these artificial deadlines, which we work to, and I think that's great. But it also means that you kind of know that because it is a little bit artificial, you're like, oh, okay, if I go over by a day, the world's not going to end.
Yeah, rather than having just everything's open-ended, it's just got to be done now. It's just got to be done yesterday. Yeah, there's a bit of accountability there. Yeah, for sure.
All right, I want one piece of advice for the people who are listening.
Advice, or
this is your conversation.
Advice. Listen to your gut.
Ooh,
I know.
I feel like there's a whole other podcast episode.
Yeah, listen to your gut. Yeah, that's the number one thing, because when it's not working, and it's just having the courage to listen to that, and make changes, stop what's not working,
But sometimes when it's not working, I say this from personal experience. Sometimes when it's not working, it doesn't mean you should throw it out. So, for example, I'll just give you one example. So we brought on a salesperson and he was shit. Like, he was just crap. But it didn't mean we had to get rid of having a salesperson. And that's just so what we worked out, though, is actually if we brought in a sales agency where we weren't just relying on one person, it meant that it made our availability open up. It meant that we could give more strategy calls to our. So we're actually serving the customer better because the concept was good, really. Just our execution was crap. So it really was like going back to the drawing board and saying, all right, this is the right idea, but it's not working. So why is it not working? So I love listening to your gut, but I think you also need to, in some cases, like, I'm not going to say look at the numbers, but like listen with your head as well, because the gut's saying it's too easy to retreat.
You're exactly right. You're exactly right. And the thing that's I've just, gleaned from this is that the thing that I did when I was closing kiosk and having all that, drama, is that I listened to my gut, but my go-to then was like, it's all or nothing. Well, this is what's wrong. I mean, this is what's causing me pain. It's the business. This is what's stopping me from, so it's got to go. Rather than looking at the nuance of that feeling of thinking something's not right, what levers do I need to pull to kind of fix this? That's what I do now, with this brand.
Yeah. That's like, oh, I got a scratch. Instead of getting some stitches, I'll just get to try my arm off.
Baby out with the bathwater. That's the way.
Yeah. That would be my suggestion, to listen with your gut, but also think, just don't always come at from a place from a fear. It kind of ties back to the original conversation, which is everyone tells you to prepare for the worst, but no one tells you how to prepare for the best. And so it's the same thing. It's like the easy way is, oh my God, this is worst case scenario, not, oh my God, this could be best case scenario if we just 100%, get it working right.
100%. Powerful.
Yeah. Okay. My piece of advice would be know what you want, because so many people can't answer that question. So many people do, or they're really vague. They're like, oh, I want ease, and not using you as an example, but like, I want ease and flow, or I want to make more money. I'm like, right, so how much is that?
Let's quantify.
If there's let's quantify. Because if there's no number, if there's no metric, then how the fuck do you know when you got there?
Energy too. The goalposts always move. There's never that sense of accomplishment. There's never those celebrating small wins, because there's no small wins. You get to the win, and then it's just on to the next one. So yeah, absolutely.
The next thing, yeah. So you have to. I think you really have to, like, that's where, things like targets and KPIs, which sound so boring, but actually what they are is just what does success look like for me at this point and at this point and at this point? Because then you've got something to measure it against. It's like, oh, okay, I got to here and I'm not there yet. Okay, I can sit back and reflect. But if you don't know where there is, how do you know what to fix? Or how do you know that you've done really, really well, and to keep replicating? Like, do more of what works. Number one tip in business, do more of what works.
And I think Sky just said, feel with your gut, but fact check it with your head.
Oh,
so I like that. Yeah.
I like.
We'll take that one, Sky. I am high on life. This has been so good. Thank you so much, Selena. I really, really, I love your style. I knew this is why you would resonate with a lot of my followers, because it's a lot of creative people, a lot of creative business people. And I just feel like you in contrast to other, business strategists and stuff, I love your delivery. I feel like you understand humanity behind business. And I love it. So I love swearing as well. So that always helps.
All right. So if you have just joined us, I'm Selena Knight. I'm a retail and e-commerce growth strategist. This is the amazing G-Pairs, aka Georgia Perry, and you can find her awesome artwork and illustrations over at georgiaperry.com.au. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and thank you, Georgia. This is this is the stuff that makes my heart sing. Like, if I could do this every day, I'm in a happy place.
It's been great. Thanks, everyone. And thanks for joining, everyone. It's been so nice to see some familiar names pop up. So maybe I'll do this more.
All right.
Bye, guys.
So that's a wrap. I'd love to hear what insight you've gotten from this episode and how you're going to put it into action. If you're a social kind of person, follow me at @TheSelena and make sure to leave a comment and let me know. And if this episode made you think a little bit differently, or gave you some inspiration, or perhaps gave you the kick that you needed to take action, then please take a couple of minutes to leave me a review on your platform of choice. Because the more reviews the show gets, the more independent retail and e-commerce stores just like yours that we can help to scale. And when that happens, it's a win for you, a win for your community, and a win for your customers. I'll see you on the next episode.